Pistol has its strengths, its weaknesses, and you must know what they are to keep your equipment in good order.
Disassembly for cleaning or other maintenance is slightly different with this kind of barrel recoil spring combination, but not at all complicated. After dropping the magazine, locking the slide back and checking to ensure that the chamber is empty, there is a lever on the left side of the frame, just above the front of the trigger guard. The lever has a locking pin, which is released by pushing a button on the right side of the frame. Once this is done, the lever can be rotated clockwise 1/4 turn. Release the slide lock and the slide will come off of the front. No trigger pull required. The recoil spring and locking block can be lifted off of the barrel removed, and everything about cleaning, lubricating, and reassembling the gun is standard, except you have to maneuver the locking block over the barrel to get the pin into the groove, and that requires a slight compression of the recoil spring. It's not much different than the way you have to compress the recoil spring on any semi-automatic to get it to drop into place on the barrel. The first thing to do is a safety check to ensure it is safe to handle. The first disassembly step is to cock the hammer. Push and hold the slide slightly to the rear. Push the slide release button in from the right side, while from the left side, rotate the slide disassembly assembly lever down 45 degrees to unlock the slide. Turn the pistol upside down and remove the complete slide assembly from the frame. Hold the central block and remove the recoil spring and guide rod. Remove the central block from the captivated recoil spring. Remove the barrel by rotating it counterclockwise when looking at it from the rear. Ensure that the magazine is thoroughly clean and the follower slides easily downward if pressed. If necessary, lightly oil, using Beretta or a good grade gun oil, the internal and external walls of the magazine box. If the pistol is carried with a magazine loaded, it is important to periodically unload all magazines for inspection. Spray the supplied brush with a good grade gun oil. Insert the brush into the barrel from the chamber and scrub the chamber and bore thoroughly. Dry the chamber and bore by pushing a cotton patch through the chamber and bore with the brush. Keep changing the patch until it emerges clean. Clean the barrel double cam and locking lugs with a cloth soaked in gun oil. If necessary, use the supplied brush. Lightly oil the inside and outside of the barrel, passing through it a clean cotton patch soaked in gun oil. Lightly oil the barrel double cam and locking lugs. Clean the central block with a cloth soaked in gun oil, paying special attention to the block tooth and to the recoil spring and guide hole. Dry the parts carefully with a clean cloth. Lightly oil the central block. Lightly oil the recoil spring and spring guide. After long use, it could be necessary to first clean these parts using the supplied brush and a good grade gun oil. Clean the slide with a cloth soaked in gun oil, paying special attention to the breech face and extractor, and to the slide rails and locking recesses. If necessary, use the supplied brush. Dry the parts carefully with a clean cloth, and then lightly oil the slide with gun oil. Dry the parts carefully and lightly lubricate slide rails and the moving parts. With an oil-soaked rag, clean all areas covered by gunpowder residue and field dirt. Pay special attention to the hammer area, ejector, central block seat, and slide rails. If necessary, use the supplied brush. Because of the rotating barrel, reassembly should be performed using the steps that follow. The central block should be assembled with its thinner barrel-bearing surface toward the muzzle. The recoil spring guide and the spring should be assembled with the flathead toward the muzzle and inserted in the opposite hole of the slide. The following assembly procedure is suggested. Keeping the slide in the left hand, sights down, use the right hand to insert the barrel, double cam upward into the slide, tilting it slightly at first. Push the barrel against the slide head, rotating it axially in a way that the locking lugs lodge in the recesses of the slide. Place the central block with recoil spring guide and spring on the barrel so that the tooth engages the double cam of the barrel, and keep the central block pushed rearward with the thumb of the left hand. Slide the spring guide toward the muzzle to engage its head in the seat of the slide. Align the frame guides in the slide rails and push the slide onto the frame until the slide is in a full battery appearance with the frame. Push the slide about 5 mm beyond the rear end of the frame, forcing the recoil spring to compress. With the thumb of the left hand, rotate the disassembly latch 45 degrees counterclockwise until it clicks into the lock position. While holding the slide, slowly move it to the in-battery position. Cycle the slide several times to ensure proper functioning and smooth operation. Move the slide fully to the rear and lock the slide in place with the slide lock lever. This completes the reassembly process. Now it's time to perform a function check. I normally use snap caps when performing a function check. These inexpensive items allow me to check extraction, ejection, locking the slide back on an empty magazine, all while giving the firing pin something soft to impact, thus protecting the firing pin and firing pin stop. Load several snap caps into a magazine. Insert the magazine into the pistol. Cycle the slide one time to chamber the first snap cap. The pistol is now in a hammer-cocked, safety-off condition. Press the safety lever down. The hammer will fall forward, thus placing the pistol in a double action with safety on condition. Pull the trigger. The trigger is disconnected and free floats, and the hammer will not cock. Pull the hammer to the rear. The hammer should not lock in the cocked position. Push the safety lever forward and up into the fire position. Pull the trigger slightly to the rear and release. The hammer should lock into the 1/4 cock safety notch. Pull the trigger fully to the rear. The hammer should move into the full cock position and release. Pull the hammer back slightly with the thumb. The hammer will, once again, engage the 1/4 cock safety notch. Press the safety lever into the down safe position. The hammer will fall fully forward. With the safety lever in the down safe position, rack the slide fully to eject the first snap cap. The hammer will follow the slide forward when the slide is released. The snap cap should be extracted and ejected and the trigger disconnected. Push the safety lever into the up fire position. Cycle the slide fully to extract and eject the second snap cap. This places the pistol in the single action mode. The second snap cap should be extracted and ejected. To check the disconnector operation, push or pull the slide to the rear about 1 inch. While holding the slide, press the trigger. The hammer should not fall. Release the trigger. Slowly, and while holding the slide, allow the slide to move forward in small increments while pulling the trigger with each increment. The hammer should not fall until the slide is in full battery. To check the slide lockback feature, cycle the slide, as necessary, to extract and eject all snap caps. The slide should lock back on the empty magazine. Remove the magazine. Hold the slide firmly. Press the slide lock lever down, pull back on the slide to disengage it from the slide lock, and slowly release the slide into full battery. Pull the trigger to release the hammer. This completes the function test, and the overall maintenance is completed for the Beretta 8000. In this presentation, I delivered the complete maintenance procedures for properly maintaining the Beretta 8000 series of pistols, while using the Beretta 8000F Cougar as an example. I covered a safety check, disassembly, cleaning and lubrication procedures for the magazine, the barrel, central block, recoil spring and spring guide, slide, and frame. And I covered reassembly and function testing of the pistol. I hope that you found this presentation useful and will return for my other firearm and firearm-related reviews. Until we meet again, be vigilant, be armed, and be safe wherever your travels take you.